Welcome back to ND Day. As a child, alumnus Jack Sacco knew his father had fought in World War II, but it was when he turned 12 that his dad decided it was time to tell him the whole story. It is a horrifying tale, but one that Jack knew had to be shared with the world. He's here with us now to talk about his book and his dad. Jack, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit more about your dad and this process, because the greatest generation, they're known for not talking.
They didn't talk.
And then starting to talk. When did your dad start telling you what he really saw in World War II?
You know, he showed me when I was a kid, he showed me swords like this and medals and things that he had gotten in the war. But it was when I was 12 years old that he showed me a photo album. And in the photo album, there were photographs of the concentration camp. I didn't know what that was, and he told me, he said, the Nazis were killing people there, but we made them stop. And he said, I want to show you these because I took these pictures, and at some point in your life, somebody's going to try to tell you that this did not happen. He said, it did happen. I was there, and I saw it.
Jack brought the photo album with him, and I just looked through it. It shakes you to the core. I mean, they are so impactful that in a program that is going to audiences right now, you really have to be warned and actually consent that, yeah, I'm willing to see it. But you're right, that ridiculous myth that it didn't happen. This shows what happened in World War II. And this triggered you to write your book.
It did. I mean, 60 years later, my father and his buddies would tear up when they talked, not about landing at Omaha Beach. My father, you know, was born in 1924, which happened to be the year of the Four Horsemen, Notre Dame's first national championship. And, you know, when he was 18 years old, he was the son of immigrants. He got the letter and went off to war to fight for his country. And the first beach he ever saw was Omaha Beach. And he went through the Battle of the Bulge. He was with General Patton through a lot of the war. And, you know, at the very end, he came across the concentration camp. And, you know, he wanted me and my siblings to know what happened and what he and his buddies had accomplished there.
So why don't you, the book is right here, and it's had tremendous success. It's now #1.
It has been #1 back and forth on Amazon.com for the last few months.
Where the birds
never
sing.
Right.
Where does that come from?
Well, when I was writing the book, I told my father that I heard that there was a legend that the birds never sing at Dachau. I've been there, and I know a lot of people in the audience have been there, and it's a very somber place. Things are very quiet there. And I heard that the birds don't even sing. And I called my father. I told him, I said, I heard that the birds don't sing at Dachau, and he said, after what I witnessed there, I don't blame them. So I thought, well, there's the title of the book right there. So that's where they went, and that's where they achieved this great victory. I mean, the Holocaust ended the minute they got there.
You were an engineering major at Notre Dame, have an engineering degree, spent a few years as an engineer.
That's right.
What made you decide to make your career as a writer?
Well, I had done some engineering work for a few years, and then I had the opportunity to write this book. Some friends of mine asked me if I would tell my father's story, and I had assumed that everybody's father liberated a concentration camp, everybody's father landed at Omaha Beach, and everybody's father was, you know, had hooked up with General Patton at one point or another during the war and hung out with him. But I came to find out that they didn't. And the fact that, as you said before, my father was telling me these stories my whole life was an incredible thing. So I thought, I want to write this story, and I want to tell about the liberators and who they were and where they came from and what they accomplished to not only have victory in the war, but to stop the Holocaust.
And not only has it been a commercial success, but it's nominated for a Pulitzer. And it really takes us back to a time where America was the conscience of the world and felt a responsibility to choose the right opportunities, but to go right massive wrongs.
That's right. And you know, I would tell my father, I said, you know, you came out of the Depression, you went into the war, they came home, and like you said, a lot of these guys never even talked about it, but they actually saved the world, the World War II guys. They're called the greatest generation for a reason. And when I was with my father and with his buddies, as I was many times, obviously, you could feel there was greatness in the room. So I wanted people to know about what they did, who they were, and what this country, you know, I want people to remember what this country is, and we need to remember who we are.
You brought with you one of your dad's swords, also a dagger. Can you explain?
That's right.
I can tell it's a German dagger. I'm not sure. What is the sword?
This is a sword that my father found in an officer's house near Germany. This is a dagger that's got the little swastika on it. Found it also in a German officer's house. And, you know, in the wars then, you could You found something and you could carry it. If you wanted to carry it, it was yours. So my father brought home these souvenirs and as a kid showed me these things, plus a lot of all the medals that he won. So it was an incredible experience for me, and I treasured these items.
What has been the most heartwarming, impactful reaction you have gotten from this book?
The most heartwarming reaction, it's...
Or maybe most gratifying reaction, because I mean, it's hard to say heartwarming when the topic is what it is. But
yeah,
what's
but
been the
I
most
tell you,
gratifying impact you think this book has had?
I've had people come up to me and thank me for what my father did, because their father, their grandfather, or their grandparents were in the camp, including a man named Georg von Hohenberg, whose grandfather was the Archduke Ferdinand and was assassinated in World War I. His father had been a prisoner at the camp. He thanked me and asked me to convey to my father his family's most sincere gratitude. So those type of things are immeasurable.
How did these stories change your view of your father? I'm sure you knew he fought in the war. He was a hero in your eyes.
That's right.
But how did this change your view of your father?
I saw, I guess I always thought my father was great because he was my father. But when I heard these stories and lived through this story of writing the book and hear from people all the time, then I understood the international greatness, if you will, the real impact that these men had and the humility that they had. And so it made an incredible impact on me, and I'm just so thankful that he and his buddies existed and that I was, related to him.
Obviously a very impressive writing project. What is next for you right now?
Well, I just finished writing the screenplay adaptation for this, and so I am hoping to get it made into a feature film, and I want the world to know about what these great American soldiers did.
It's an incredible story. Jack, thank you for sharing it with us right now.
Thank you, Jack.